Hello and welcome back to the Paddle and Fin podcast. I'm Brian.
It's Josh.
Ryan and
I'm Jay.
Dustin Nichols.
It's Ricketts.
And I'm Brad.
Susie Roloff.
Sam Jones. Got Dan Perry with
The Bass Fishing for Noobs.
Final Cast.
Chasing the Tide saltwater segment here on
Adventures with Outdoor Women.
The Reel Down on. He's got a Cyber Monday.
Oh yeah, dude.
Happy birthday, you listeners.
Oh, guys. This is a stud.
She is a giant.
Mr. Drew Gregory himself. Welcome, Drew.
Got it.
Got me.
What is up, everybody? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is live stream number 2 for me today. If you guys missed it, me and Jason Ricketts were live over on the Jackson Kayak Facebook page. Feel free to go back and watch that. We were chatting with Mr. Russell Johnson. Super interesting dude. Some great stories over there. I already see we got my man Chris Johnch in the... I always mess up last names, man. I don't even know why I try. But we got him in the chat. He says, is this real or a dream? I'm assuming that's because this is live stream number 2. So you're getting a double dose of Brian this evening. If you guys are tuning in, please go down lower left-hand corner, click the share button, and, get this thing going. I see Justin Hausner in the house. What's up, brother? Hope the little boy is doing good. I know you sent me a picture. He is growing like a root. Robert Whetstone, what's up, my man? Justin Staley in the house. Oh man, we got all kinds of people joining in here tonight. Shout out to Angler. We're partnered up with Angler now. If you guys aren't familiar with their platform, go and download the little app, Angler app. Huge community in the fishing world over there. They've been sharing our stuff, so we want to show them some love. If you don't have an Angler button, get one. If not, keep staying tuned to these. We might be giving one away. So... epic guest tonight, man. We got Austin Mitchell in his house. What's up? And we're going to be talking to him. Interesting character. Does some interesting stuff up in the Wisconsin area. Fly fishing out of a kayak for muskie. I mean, how many guys do that? Not very many. So without further ado, let's pull my man in here, and we'll get chatting with him. What's up, my brother? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Not too shabby. Just working the streets, in this whole
I hear you. It's
live stream game.
it's been a crazy week, but it's good to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'm stoked to have you on, man. I know we were fortunate enough. We just picked you up for the Rocktown Adventures kayak fishing team.
Yeah, so it's exciting.
We'll get into a little bit of that. You just got put on the Nucanoe team as well. That's even more exciting.
Yep, big things this year. So
it's sweet, man. It's sweet. So, real quick, I see a bunch of people are jumping on. Guys, gals, click that share button. Drop in the comments where you're tuning in from. I see we got Bradley John. What's up, brother? Justin Hausner again. Uh-oh. The boss man's in here. Mr. Matt Gibson.
Got to be on my best behavior now.
Yeah. No talking bad about Matt. But we'll start it off with the age-old question, my friend. How you got into fishing and kayak fishing and all that good stuff, man.
Yeah, so fishing, just kind of since I was a kid, just started doing it. My dad's big into it. Just grew up in a household that was outdoorsy, hunting, fishing, all that kind of stuff. I grew up in Black Earth, Wisconsin, so the Black Earth Creek runs through there. Ooh. So fly fishing.
You're tugging at my heartstrings right now, man.
Yeah, so fly fishing, just kind of growing up there. None of my family really did it, and I would always just ride down to the creek and see guys doing it. So I remember I started when I was 10,
Nice.
and my dad got me my first fly rod, and we didn't actually know anything about fly fishing. So I remember the first year I actually just fished with backing on it instead of actual fly line, because he didn't want to spend the $50 or whatever it was at the time to get the real fly line. So I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong for like the first year that I was fly fishing, because I couldn't cast or do anything. And finally we got the right line or whatever.
Nice.
So that's kind of how it started. Just fly fishing, trout, stuff like that. Eventually moved into more of the warm water stuff, being close to the Wisconsin River and all that, smallmouth, pike, stuff like that. And then eventually, probably 6 years now, I've been really focusing on the muskie games, stuff like that. So, and then as far as kayak fishing goes, just 16, you need a boat, something like that. Didn't have a lot of money, so got a cheap, Walmart kayak, started out in, and just kind of went on from there. I fished out of a Jackson, Kilroy for a while, and then actually sold that, and I was fishing out of a boat actually for the longest time. I had an old Ranger bass boat, 16 foot, 90 horsepower, was fishing out of that for a long time. And for me, my style of fishing, I always wanted to be as versatile as I can with the boat, with how I fish, with the species, and just traveling over the state. You hit so much different water that for me, the kayak was really the only boat that I could do that with solo, because I fish bigger water around here in Madison, the Madison chain, stuff like that. But I'm lucky enough to have in-laws who have a cabin up on the Chippewa flowage. Ooh. And there's so many rivers and stuff like that around there that you're either in a canoe, a drift boat, or a kayak. So to be able to do that, really there's only a couple of options, and to be solo, how I fish most of the time, a kayak was the best choice. So I was fishing out of a Jackson Mayfly for a while, and then last year made the switch to Nucanoe.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And you're in the Frontier 10 now, right?
12.
12. Yeah, my bad.
Yep. The 12,
Very
the big
cool.
boy. I need a little bit more room, being 6'5", so the 12 is the way to go.
Sure. I know how that goes, man.
Yeah.
We're about the same height.
Yep.
So
yep.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing when you're a tall guy. So
yeah.
That's super cool, man. So what, you're just north of Madison, just south of Wisconsin Dells, for those that are tuning in, man. So like, what's your go-to kind of body of water up there, if you don't mind spilling the beans on that?
No, I fish the Wisconsin River quite a bit. I live in Prairie du Sac, so the Prairie du Sac Dam is the last dam on the Wisconsin River before it hits the Mississippi. So it's all considered the lower Wisconsin there. So great smallmouth fishing, muskie, pike, all that kind of stuff. And then otherwise, if I'm not fishing the Wisconsin, I fish the Madison chain quite a bit. And then bunch of different little local ponds and stuff like that, depending on what I'm doing. But yeah, the Wisconsin River is kind of my main go-to as far as smallmouth, muskie, that kind of stuff.
Right on, man. I mean, is Madison chain got muskies in it? Right?
Yeah,
they do, right? Yeah.
Madison has a big population. So there's the chain. So it's Mendota, Monona, Waubesa, and Wingra. So Monona, Waubesa, and Wingra all have muskies, and then Mendota has big pike in it.
Yeah, right.
So,
right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's right, because Waubesa, there's always muskie fishermen out there.
Yeah. Waubesa gets hit pretty hard because it's a little bit smaller. It's not as small as Wingra, but you still have that potential of an upper 40s, even 50 class inch fish in Waubesa. Wingra has a high population, but it's a smaller size. and then Monona, you're going to get your bigger, but it's deeper water, a little bit bigger.
Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of, you get a selection of all three depending on what you want to do.
So you said you started out with trout and then you kind of, moved over to some warm water fishing. I mean,
Yep.
what ended up driving you to the muskies? I mean, what was that all about?
I've always fished for muskies since I was a kid. My dad grew up doing it and everything like that. So I've always gear fished for them ever since I was a kid. But the more that I started to fish Madison, you realize how many of those fish have seen every single lure. They've seen every single bucktail. They've seen every single glider, every single topwater a million times. Because you go out on a June day and there's on a Wednesday night and there'll be 40 boats out there casting musky lures. Right. So for me, I knew I could cast the fly. I was good enough at it. I could handle all that. It was just figuring out the type of equipment that I needed. Mm-hmm. And around my area, at least, it's big up north around the Hayward area, fly fishing for muskie. But down where I am, especially in the Madison area, it's not really that big. It wasn't, at least when I started. There was a few people doing it, sure, but I knew those fish really hadn't seen anything like what you could do with a fly rod. So that was the big motivator for me, was just something different to throw at those really high pressured fish.
That's interesting. So the live stream we did earlier, I'm trying to relate these two because Russell Johnson, we were talking to him, and he's mostly fishing bass tournaments out of a kayak.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he loves to throw a 4-inch grub.
Yeah.
Like a twister tail grub,
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll annihilate them on any body of water. And that's kind of like what you're saying, man. Like, how many people do you know that go out and throw 4-inch twister tails all the time,
Exactly.
But you damn sure that those fish have seen chatterbait, swim bait, swim jig like a million times. So it's like changing that up a little bit, man, like increases your chances. And I mean, when we're talking muskie, it's the old saying, the fish of 10,000 casts or whatever. So
exactly.
It's cool. And you were talking about the Hayward area.
Yeah.
So I actually found out about that. Brad Bowen, they call him the Godfather, right?
Yep.
The Godfather of fly fishing for skis.
Yeah, he kind of pioneered it. There was people kind of in the same time period as him, but he really pioneered the whole. He invented a lot of flies that get used today. He obviously guided and taught a lot of people. A lot of guides now even went through him and learned about it. So yeah, he was kind of the grandfather of it all, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he's got his own material company. I know he goes, like, during hunting season, he'll sort through pelts to find like the specific tails and feathers. I mean, I saw him for the first time. Gosh, man, I'm dating myself now. I think it was like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Something like that. When he was on the fly fishing film tour, there was a guy out of Chicago. I think his name is Third Year Fly Fisherman.
Yeah. Yep. They did a film back a while ago.
Muskie Country.
Yep.
I'm sure you guys can find that on YouTube. Just type in Muskie Country.
Yeah, I think it's still. I think you still have to pay for it. Zero to Hero, it's called. I think you can get it on Vimeo.
You can see. Actually, I was on that recently, and I think you can watch like a good 5-minute trailer or something.
There's
like
a trailer
that.
for it. It's, if you're interested in muskie on the fly, it's definitely one of those like must watch at some point kind of things. Like if you're getting into it, it's kind of like, it's hard to but it's just one of those must watch kind of things. So yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a great film.
I remember after seeing it, I was like, I'm going home. I'm going to tie some musky flies. We're going to go catch some huge fish. Let's do this.
Yep.
And I tied some flies, and that was
about it.
I threw them a couple times, but that was about it.
Yeah.
I think I caught more bass and pike on them than anything. But,
you'd be surprised. It shocked me how many big bass I'll get on like a 10-inch, streamer or something like that.
Yeah.
You get them all the time, like even 2-3 pounders, like just crushing. And you want, the big swim baits that they throw out east, like now you know why once you start throwing muskie gear, because a 14-inch bass will come up and hit your 12-inch muskie fly like it's nothing. So it's fun, but
it's one of those cases where the little guy thinks he's the tough guy and can take out the
exactly.
biggest thing in the pack.
Exactly.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I remember seeing films of that stuff, and they were catching like huge smallmouth, walleye, stuff like that up on the Chippewa flowage.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, we got people tuning in from all over the country right now, but if you guys ever find yourself in Wisconsin, definitely hit northern Wisconsin, the Chippewa flowage, the Hayward area.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's just fisherman's paradise up there.
Yeah.
You could drive an hour in any direction and be on probably over 100 different bodies of water.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Hayward area, and then you get over to like Eagle River and stuff like that. And there's just water everywhere. And all of them hold muskie pretty much. I mean, it's hard to find a body of water up there. Even I love going up there and hitting a lot of the smaller lakes. Sure. Just with the kayak, just because it's a little bit easier. It gets you out of the wind and stuff like that. But there's so many just little pockets up there that hold really nice numbers of fish and all that. And then you can go hit bigger water and go for your trophy class fish too. So yeah, it's a great area. I love going up there.
Very cool, man. So let's run through your boat real quick. How you got that set up, and I know you just got a new little toy you're adding to it as well. So
yeah,
I mean, what's your typical setup for fly fishing? And I want to talk about your fly box too, because that's pretty unique as well.
Yeah, we can run through it. Yeah, so
you're like, I got the box right here, bro.
I think it's still out in the garage, but I run a Frontier 12. So this year I'll actually last year I didn't, but this year I'm actually running a motor guide. I'll have an XI3 up front, 45 pound trolley motor. And then I have a stand-up bar, just for the fact of when I was paddling, standing up. I fish 90% of the time standing up when I am muskie fishing. So having that paddle, I have a paddle holder on the stand-up bar, so when I'm standing up, being able to hold that paddle up closer to me is what I run. And then just the regular seat, and then in the back I'll have my just in case fly box, and I run a special kind of net that my buddy made he makes them called a lunker lander, he calls them. It's basically a cradle that attaches right to your kayak. So, and that's kind of the basic setup that I run. This year it'll be a little bit different with the motor guide up front, but it should be fun.
There's a lot of guys that are going nuts over the motor guide bow mount systems.
Yeah.
And especially with Old Town coming out with those new boats.
Yep.
I knew something was coming. I wasn't told what it was, and then it dropped, and I was like, yeah, that's gonna change some things. But it's kind of cool, man, to see how everything has kind of evolved. And not only that, for like your Wisconsin River trips, Chippewa River or Chippewa flowage, like for you to cover some water and not have to do a float, that's going to be huge.
And the biggest thing for me was just controlling the wind. Just because I'm standing up most of the time, that's why, like, when I told people that I wasn't getting the pedal drive, they're kind of like, why would you get a pedal drive? It's really nice. And the pedal drives are great. But for me, I'm standing up 90% of the time when I'm actually fishing. So I needed something that, one, kept the deck really completely clean because of all the fly line. And two, I just needed that control in the wind. So that's where that motor guide comes in, is being able to control better in the wind positioning. Because a lot of muskie fishing is just boat positioning. You'd be surprised about if you can get good boat positioning. That's almost half of it.
Well, what size fly rod are you running? What's like your
So
go-to rod?
yeah, right now I'm running two. I have a 10, and then it's a 400 to 500 grain. It's basically an 11 weight. 10 is kind of all around. Kind of if you're, I'm going to get into musky fly fishing, I'm going to grab one rod. It's going to be a 10 weight probably. You can get away with a 9, but once you start getting up into those little bit bigger flies, a 10 is definitely going to be the way to go. And then I have an 11 just for those bigger, 12, 13-inch flies. So,
Nice.
yeah, 10 is I normally about probably 70% of the time I'm throwing my 10 weight though.
What length? 9 foot?
9 foot. Yep. 9
Yeah.
foot on both of them.
Yeah. So I bring that up because, trying to sit in a seat and cast a 9 foot rod back
Yeah.
and forth with a bunch of line,
Yep.
that'll wear you down
It's
real
difficult.
quick.
Yeah. I'll do it. I'll do it some days like smallmouth fishing and stuff like that when, you're not casting as far or something like that, a little bit lighter stuff. But for fly fishing, being able to stand up just makes it so much easier. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the biggest thing is fly fishing, standing up. It's not a necessary, but it definitely helps.
Heck yeah. Very cool, man. Very cool. So are you tying all your own flies or are you buying some?
Um,
Mix of both?
yeah, pretty much tying all mine. I have a few from just buddies and stuff that I've met through Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that, fishing with. But yeah, I tie most of my own. Everybody kind of has their own style of what they like. For me, I prefer a really, really light fly, just because I want to be able to fish that fly effectively all day without getting tired.
Nice.
Some people want as big and as bulky as they can get to move that water and stuff. So there's a million different ideas and stuff out there. But yeah, I like to tie my own just for the fact
Nice.
of they are hard to come by. They're definitely getting easier to find people tying them and stuff like that. But yeah, you can tie your own style, tie what kind of fits your needs and stuff like that is the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of fly tying, man, is you can kind of adjust where you need to and
Yep.
make it exactly what you want.
Yep.
And it's usually cheaper,
You'd be surprised. I think if I just bought a box of flies, compared to all the stuff that I have laying around my tying desk now,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I would be saving a bunch of money. I thought that right away too, and then you start shelling out like $6-7 a bucktail and
Yeah.
$25 for a pack of hackles, and you need every single color. It gets pricey pretty quick, but it's
Yeah.
fun. And like I said, it is even nicer too when you get that muskie on a fly you tied to. It's hard to beat. It really is.
Yeah.
Something that you created with your own hands that tricked this, elusive fish. It's really rewarding too. So
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I got a couple fly rods that I built. So it's like I took it even a
that's
step
really cool.
further.
Yeah.
And it's such a huge sense of accomplishment,
Yep.
like I don't know, like I always say, like the only thing I didn't make was the reel and the fly line. Other
Yeah.
than that, like, I fooled that fish from start to finish, man. and
Exactly.
it's pretty crazy.
Exactly.
We got a comment in here. If he might have missed it, I don't think you mentioned it though. What brand of rods are you using?
Yeah, so I'm fishing. My 10 weight is an Echo 3S, and then my 11 is a TFO E-Sox. So it's
Okay.
a specific musky fly rod. Blaine Chocolate helped design it. So yeah, the TFO E-Sox is a great rod, and I love my Echo 3S. But the thing about fly rods is it's hard to tell people to go out and buy a brand, and because every single brand is going to cast a little bit different for each person.
Sure.
Yeah, if you're looking, first get a price point that you want to stick to, and then go out and try a couple of rods in that price point, because I might tell you that I love casting the e-socks, and you might go and cast it and not like it at all, the way that it feels when you're casting it, stuff like that. So it's not, I tell people, like, with casting setups and stuff like that for like bass and stuff like that, you can pretty much pick up a casting setup and like get it to work for you and stuff like that. With fly rods, it's a little different, because just the way that you cast, the style of rod can all make a big difference, the line that you put on it. So definitely go out and try some. But yeah, I run an Echo and a TFO.
Nice. Yeah. My man Justin said thanks for that. Yeah, I know most fly shops, usually they got like a demo model, or demo models kicking around that you can go try out at your local fly shop. I know up in Wisconsin, like, my favorite go-to fly shop is Driftless Angler. Those guys are awesome. And Matt's usually got some demos kicking around up there. I think Justin's down in Indiana. I think Moving Waters Outfitters, I think they sell fly rods and flies and stuff. They're an outfitter. That's the shop that Matt Gibson works with. And I think they have some rods and things like that down there. Not 100% sure. Don't quote me. Hit up Matt Gibson. He's in the chat.
There you go.
Flipping the script on my man Matt tonight. But yeah, dude, that's certainly cool, man. I love that whole like DIY aspect of making the flies. Matt's in there. He says sure do. So that means they got they got the rods down there at Moving Waters, Justin. Dude, it's so hard to keep track of where everybody's from. I don't even know how I remember that. Dude.
I hear you.
But so let's talk about this, man. You just got on Nucanoe. You just got on Rocktown. Like how you feeling about that, dude?
I'm super excited. It's growing up fishing, you're always like trying to get, thinking about like, being on a team and stuff like that. And for me, like, being on a team, it was more than just like, you get, discounts and stuff like that. For me, it was never that. For me, I always wanted to be with a company that I liked and I used their stuff, and also backed me, because for me, like, what I want to accomplish with this whole fishing is more of like a teaching aspect, doing seminars, stuff like this, podcast, stuff like that. Because I honestly love talking about fishing almost as much as I fish and stuff like that. So for me, the biggest thing was just having a company behind me back those dreams and those goals. That's
cool, man. No, I love that. And I mean, you and I got similar stories. I mean, let's face it, 2 live streams today just talking kayak fishing,
Yeah, exactly.
But that was the thing, man. So, me and Austin worked a show together up in Madison, Wisconsin. This past winter, I don't know, a month and a half ago, something like that. And it was cool, man, to see you interact. And I know you got a lot of questions because you had your boat rigged up. You had your fly box. Oh, we didn't talk about that yet. Talk about that. We had your boat rigged up. You had your flies out there and stuff like that. And I think that really threw people off, because I think most of the times, like, at least at that Madison fishing show, when people are walking through, if they see flies, it's normally trout flies. And then, here's a dude that's got like huge 10, 12-inch flies just all lined up in this clear, like the tackle box that he's got is super cool. Cause I remember I walked in, you had your boat set up, and I was like, what the hell is that over there? And I was like, and he had it's like a clear, like almost looks like plexiglass box. And then all your flies just hang in there, dude. And you had, I don't know, probably 30, 40 flies in there, something like that.
Yeah, I think it fits about that much. Yeah. It's a little empty right now, but my just in case, that gets a lot of attention. So the guy that makes it, actually, he started out making like custom boat boxes for like regular musky lures. So he'll make
nice.
you like basically a floor for your range or whatever, and you can put whatever musky lures in it. And a couple of guys asked him, "Hey, could you make a fly box for it?" He said, "Sure." So that was one of the first ones that came out, and he's kind of had a couple different iterations of them. You can get one now that, you know, is only 2 slides and has a drawer in the bottom of it, and mine is the biggest one I think that you can get right now. I think it holds 8 or 9 slides in it.
Nice.
But yeah, different slides, different way to mount. You can get foam in it and a whole bunch of different things. But yeah, he makes those in Minnesota just in case they're called.
Nice. It's super cool, man, because that clear plexiglass, you can see all those musky
Yeah.
flies through the glass.
Yeah.
You know, I almost wish like the black pack was like that, because instead of having to mark all my damn 7,300 boxes
Yeah.
on the top of, you know, which one's which and trying to sort through them, I could just be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the box I need, you know?
Yeah. And half of fishing is just showing off too. So if you can have the box and everybody sees it and oohs and ahs over it, you're halfway there already. So catching fish is just a bonus after that.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sure you get a ton of questions like at a ramp and stuff. I mean, your boat is pretty uniquely set up. So,
Yeah.
you know, and not only that, you're doing a unique style of fishing. I mean, like
Yeah.
we talked about at the beginning, man, not a whole lot of people are fly fishing for muskies.
Not a lot. Not a lot in my area, at least.
We got my man Chris has a comment, and it's do fishing teams have cheerleaders asking for a friend?
I mean, it depends. I'm all for cheerleaders if you want to come in. I don't know.
Oh, Chris, I appreciate it. Yeah, so sorry, sidetracked by another comment. But yeah, it's very unique, man.
Yeah.
Very unique setup. So I mean, right now, water's kind of cold. You're probably not chasing muskies yet.
Yep,
So
not yet.
you've been out chasing trout, you said.
Yeah.
What's your go-to setup for that? You wading mostly, or are you
Yep.
doing that in the yak too, or?
Not too much around this area. Streams are a little bit small to do a lot of like kayak trout fishing. So yeah, I'm mostly walk and wade, stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of walk and wade, traveling around, and then whatever is biting kind of thing, whatever's hatching. It's nice being in Wisconsin because they have a early season that opens the first Saturday in January and then goes till October. So even before, you know, general fishing opens up here, beginning of May, there's still opportunities to get out, trout fish, do some catch and release, stuff like that. So it's nice to get out, enjoy some open water because I don't ice fish. So
Yeah, man.
yeah, open water is nice to get on.
Well, it was nice to see Wisconsin move that season back, because it used to be like the first weekend in March, right? Is
Yep.
when the season would open up.
Yep.
And then
Yep, first
But I
Saturday
remember-
in March.
it's weird, like, you know, when it was that time, like you'd get some really nice days in like January
Yeah.
and February, and you're like,
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
go fly fishing right now. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, and all that good stuff. And now it's bumped up, and now it's like we don't get any nice days. So
Yeah.
it's like, thanks,
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
We'll get a couple nice days here and there, but
Right.
yeah, come March, yeah, things really start to get going. So even April's one of my best times to get out and trout fish too, because warmer weather, bugs are starting to hatch, and regular game still isn't open anyway. Regular game fish still isn't open anyway.
Right.
So yeah, April can be killer trout stream fishing.
I know me and my man, my good friend Eric, we went up there. Man, there may be a video of this somewhere on YouTube. I'll have to find it. But we were up there, and it was stayed up in Muskota, I think it was,
Okay.
which is right off the Wisconsin River. But we were
Yep.
fishing that section north of there. And it was April 1st, April Fool's Day. We woke up, and it was like whiteout snowing. And
Really?
we're like, serious? Like, what the hell? You know, like we had been like looking forward to planning this weekend.
Yeah.
Because I think we each took like a day or two off work and we spent like 3 or 4 days up there fishing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, dude, wake up, white out, and I'm like, well, you know, we're not going to catch any fish from the hotel
Yeah.
room, bro. Let's go.
You're there. You're there.
So
You might as
yeah,
well go.
I remember we fished in the snow, and then most of it melted off by the afternoon, which kind of made for some murky waters, but it wasn't too horrible, you know.
Yeah.
But
The snow melt, beginning of March, mid-March, it can be one of the tougher things because even day-to-day wise, it can change. I know we would have a bite window from like noon to 3, and then once that 3 o'clock window started to hit and that snow started to melt, the streams would just cool off so quick and they would shut off.
yeah,
So that's the one tough thing about this time of year is just hitting those windows right. But if you do, it can be lights out.
killer day,
Yeah, it can be
I've
great.
had days like that where like we wouldn't catch anything in the morning, and then like you said, like noon,
Yep.
water starts warming up, and I've had 30, 40 fish days. Like
Yeah.
just waiting, fishing the same hole
Yep.
over and over.
Yep.
With the old pink squirrel. That's
It's hard to beat sometimes of the year.
Yeah,
so
dude. That's a northern Wisconsin staple, dude.
Yep.
If you're fly fishing, and if you've never fly fished or been up to that southwest section of Wisconsin, they refer to it as the driftless area.
Yep.
It's super beautiful, rolling hills. I refer to it as Little Colorado. You know,
Yeah.
it reminds me of Colorado. Rolling hills, like rolling mountains.
Yep.
All these spring-fed streams all over the place, and it's unique geographically because when the glaciers rolled through the Midwest, this section wasn't hit by those glaciers.
Yep.
So that's why they're still there.
Yep.
So super cool. What's up to my man Dylan in the chat tonight? What's up, little man? Hope you're doing well. But yeah, man, I mean, I remember, you know, because me personally, before I got into fly fishing, I remembered thinking like fly fishing like Colorado,
Yeah.
Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, you know, and then I started doing some searching around. Good old Google. Google's your friend. And I'm like, I see all these guys like catching trout up in Southwest Wisconsin. I'm
Yeah.
like, really? Like, this is only a couple hours from me. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But I don't know if I ever told you the way I got turned on to fly fishing is I went over to the Root River in Racine when the salmon were running in the fall and
Yeah.
hooked into a 17-pound king on like a $40 fly rod.
Yeah.
And the gears were gone in that reel after that fish. And
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm done. I need to go invest some money into this. So.
Yeah. 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 Great Lakes steelhead can be great. I tried it a couple of years ago. It was fun. I don't know. I couldn't get into
Combat
it.
fishing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, my first steelhead that I caught was, I have a couple of friends who live out in Buffalo. So
Okay.
I caught my first steelhead on the Niagara River.
Oh, nice.
And it was,
nice.
you know, it's hard to beat when you're fishing 100,000 CFS and it's, you know, you catch a steelhead and it runs and it has nowhere to go. I mean, where we were fishing, you took a step off the ledge and it's 30 feet deep and you're looking at 100 feet deep in the middle of the river, stuff like that. So it's incredible fishing out there. So coming back here and fishing steelhead was a little different. You know, fishing right outside of Miller Park and stuff like that, downtown Milwaukee was fine. I could see how if you got good at it and learned your spots, how it could be fun. But for me,
Sure.
I'd rather much go, you know, and it is a drive for me too. It's about a 2-hour drive to get over to Milwaukee. So I'd much rather go 2 hours the opposite direction and hit up Viroqua and kind of that area and fish the driftless. So,
Well, there's that killer river comes out of Superior, Lake Superior, very northern Wisconsin. I forget the name of it.
Is it the Root?
No, the root
No,
is
no,
out of
no.
Racine.
Yeah,
But
I know what
that's
you're
supposed
talking
to have
about.
some
Yeah,
phenomenal runs
yeah,
up there, man.
yeah.
And the scenery is
Brule,
good
the
too.
Brule.
Brule, yeah,
Yep,
Brule.
yep,
Brule for
yep.
those interested.
Yeah, and that's kind of a little bit more wild. It's a lot of like national land, so a lot of it's like protected forest, kind of more
Yeah.
adventurous stuff like that. So, yeah, I've definitely wanted to get up there for that run at some point.
Was that
Thinking.
an invite? Was that
I
an
mean,
invite?
we could figure something out. We could figure something out. I think it
That'd be
would
awesome.
be. Would it be about this time? Maybe a couple more weeks. I feel like it's April,
No,
but
yeah, it's hard to say. It all
yeah,
depends on water temps, and
yeah, that's true.
right now it's been so
I guess
cold
they're
as it
still
is.
frozen up there, so it probably wouldn't be for a while. But
I mean, we got like 2-3 inches of snow over here
yeah,
by
I
me
saw
yesterday, so
that.
what are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
yeah.
But very cool, man. So what are you looking forward to in 2020, man? What are you looking forward to the
Ooh,
most? You got any
ooh.
trips
Um,
going on, things
Not
like that?
too many trips. Yeah. Well, we have a trip to tentatively scheduled, depending on how this whole thing that's going around goes. But
Yeah.
in December, we'll be going back. Me and my wife will be going back to Grand Cayman.
Oh,
So
nice.
hopefully do some more bone fishing down there.
Mm.
Get tarpon crossed off the list is the goal.
Oh, I
Yeah,
hate you.
I know it's tough. It's tough. I tried. We've been there twice now. So first two times was bonefish, like strictly. That's all I was going after.
Yeah.
And this time I'm like, I've got those. I need to cross off another fish off the list. So we're gonna spend a little bit more time going after tarpon this time if we get to go. So
You're going
other
after the
than that,
big guys.
yeah, they have some monsters down there, and
Yeah.
they're around. They're around. So it should be exciting. I'm gonna take the e-socks with, see how that
Nice.
copes against the tarpon. So we'll see. I mean,
Put
it's
that rod to work.
yeah, a little bit more work than a muskie. So as big as they are,
Yeah.
they don't fight the greatest. So we'll see
Yeah.
how
They
it
can get up
handles a
to
tarpon.
150 pounds, man,
They
coming tail dancing out of the water, dude.
yeah,
That is a
it's
fish that just puts on a show once you hook
mm-hmm.
into him, man.
Yep. I hooked into one the first year that I went down there and broke me off right away. I mean, one jump snapped off, and it's cool. It's
Yeah.
really, really cool.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, man, I'm in the same boat. I was looking forward to finally fishing saltwater for the first time. I've fished all over the country. It's all been freshwater.
Yep.
Booked a trip to go down and fish with my man Dustin Nichols down in Texas for
Oh
redfish and
yeah.
sea trout.
Yep.
And that's supposed to be like in 2-3 weeks. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
I haven't canceled the ticket yet. Just fingers crossed. But
Just fingers crossed, holding on hope.
oh yeah.
At least you aren't my buddy at work who had he was supposed to be leaving for Paris tomorrow. Or not
Jesus.
Paris, Italy. He was supposed to be going to Rome tomorrow. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So it could be worse. So at least you got chance still that you'll make it down there.
That's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
It's a pretty sad state of affairs over there, man, and
It's tough. It's tough,
man.
and all you can do is just keep going on. I mean, at least around our area, there's plenty of fishing around here. There's plenty of good stuff. And like for me, that was a big thing for me this early season was I was just like, I'm going to go explore. I'm going to find some new creeks. There's always new water. So it might seem, dire, like you're not being able to go on trips. You're not, going to be, but explore those waters around you. 'Cause you never know, you'll find some, a stream or a
Hidden
lake that you've
gems.
never fished and it might be great. I got into a Brooks trout stream that a buddy told me about last weekend, and it was phenomenal. And it's half an hour away from me, so
Did you say brook trout?
Brookies. Lots of
Oh,
brookies.
man.
Lots of brookies. Small little stream, private land that I asked for access to that a buddy told me about, and it's phenomenal.
Oh,
It's
man.
I lost count, and I was trying a whole new style of fishing too. I started trying to do some Euro nymphing.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm still experimenting with that, and I was catching fish doing that. And
Oh,
I
very
don't
cool.
know what I'm doing with it yet. So if you knew what you were doing and stuff like that, it would be lights out. So yeah, it's fun being able to explore and get out and try some new things.
So refresh my memory, Euro nymphing. What's the setup there?
So I'm running, it's a 10-foot 3-weight. So it's really long rod, and really light. And all that you're basically doing is keeping a tight line to your nymphs. So you basically don't have any fly line out. It's just a long leader to your nymphs, and then one or two really heavy nymphs. So when you cast, those nymphs sink down really quickly, and they aren't affected by the current. So when you fish an indicator that floats on top, so you can see your flies or whatever when you get a strike, that indicator on top of the water is actually moving faster than the water underneath. So when you're tightline nymphing, you're not actually using an indicator. You're using they call it a sighter. It's basically a colored piece of line.
Yeah.
And what that does, it allows those nymphs to sink down really quick and not get affected by the speed of the water on top. And you get a better drift through the water, basically, that isn't affected. So yeah, it's really interesting. Like I said, it was another thing too that just like the muskie on the fly, I haven't seen a lot of people around my area doing it. So I was like, I'm going to try something and see if maybe those pockets of water that, other people have thrown their indicators through, I can pick it apart a little bit easier, because it's definitely not a speed fishing thing, or not. It's
Sure.
quick, but you can really pick apart. Like if you have a hole, you can really pick it apart, really, really like inch by inch, versus kind of just running an indicator through it a whole bunch. You can really pick apart a specific area.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah,
I mean, that's kind of similar how we, maybe not as similar. There's an area of the Colorado River we fish out in Colorado. Kind of do something similar to that, but a little different.
okay,
And out there, we'll run like a big stonefly or a heavy nymph in the front, and then we'll have two smaller like midges tailed off the back of that.
Yep.
But sometimes we're casting distances and running a smaller indicator through these holes.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can get right over those pockets and then just kind of flip it and run it through there real quick.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And there's a couple different ways that people do it. I know Kelly Gallup, he does basically a drop shot where he'll do two flies, and then run like a line off the bottom fly and actually put split shot below that. So he's basically like drop shotting.
Yeah.
But Euro nymphing, you have like a point fly and then a dropper. So your point is on the bottom, and then your dropper would be up top. So there's a whole bunch of different, but yeah, it's all basically tight line nymphing, they call it.
Nice. I dig it, man.
Yeah.
I dig it. That's very cool. Very cool. Well, we're drawn to the end, man. Here, we're coming up on an hour almost.
Perfect.
So I'll give you the floor to thank whoever you need to thank, and say whatever you want to say, my man.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go check out Rocktown, obviously, and go check out Nucanoe. Great boats. Motor options are endless, and they're made right here in the USA. They're actually made right in Wisconsin, so it's a cool thing.
Oostburg.
Yeah. Yes, Oostburg. I actually picked mine up right from the the factory. So yeah, go check out Nucanoe. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions or anything, hit me up on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, stuff like that. So if you guys have any questions, I'm always available. Just send me a message. And normally I'm on my phone. I have a desk job, so I check stuff more often than I probably should. But so
hilarious.
yeah. If you guys have any questions about Nucanoe stuff or fly fishing or anything in general, just let me know, and I'll try and help out to the best of my abilities.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Yeah, I want to give a shout out. I know, obviously we mentioned Rocktown Adventures, mentioned Moving Water Outfitters down in Indiana. Like a lot of our local paddle shops have been hit hard by this coronavirus thing. Rocktown had to shut down this weekend. I'm not sure about Moving Waters. I know Loveland Canoe and Kayak out in Ohio, they're shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of shops are closed down. If your shop has a website where you can order from, please go support those shops.
Yeah.
I know Rocktown's got a website. You can order online, rocktownadventures.com. They're still checking messages. You can call to check and see if things are in stock. You can arrange an appointment to pick up a boat still, I believe. I don't know about all the other paddle shops out there, but support local guys. This is a tough time, man, for everybody involved, whether you work for a big company or a small one.
Yeah.
Obviously a lot of the smaller ones are taking bigger hits right now. So if you can help support local in some way,
fly shops
do
too.
So.
I know a lot of the fly shops in my area are closed, so anything local that you guys can do, if even just a rod holder, something like that. I mean, try and pick it up local, because anything at this time really helps keep people, even their spirits up, just getting sales and stuff like that. So I know a lot of guys are working really hard to, deliver, stuff out to cars if you need tying materials and stuff like that, and, paddling equipment, because we are getting, even though it seems like a long ways away, we are getting closer and closer to that open water season. So if you guys need anything, hit up your local shops.
Yeah, I mean, if you're stuck at home anyways because your place of business is closed, man, it's a good way to, kill the time and help the local shops out that, support you and your clubs and things like that. So huge shout out, man. Austin, thank you so much again for
thanks
taking
for having
the time
me
out tonight. Absolutely, my man. Absolutely.
Anytime.
We got to do that Brule River trip. For sure, dude. That sounds spicy.
Man. We'll have to talk. We'll talk. We'll figure something out.
I tell you what, I'll have my people call your people.
All right.
We'll do lunch.
All right, that sounds great. I'm more of a dinner person, but we'll talk. We'll talk.
Right on. Well, we'll lead you out with the intro video, guys. Thanks a ton. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Thank you for the comments and the questions. Much, much appreciated. Hello and welcome back to the Paddle and Fin podcast. I'm Brian.
It's Josh.
Ryan and
I'm Jay.
Dustin Nichols.
it's Ricketts.
And I'm Brad.
Susie Roloff.
Sam Jones. Got Dan Perry with the
Bass Fishing for Noobs.
final cast.
Chasing the Tide saltwater segment here on
Adventures with Outdoor Woman.
The reel down on. He's got a Cyber Monday.
Oh yeah, dude.
Happy birthday, you listeners.
Oh, guys, this is a stud.
He is the giant.
Mr. Drew Gregory himself. Welcome to.
Got it.